McKay getting absolutely wrecked with the amount of gaslighting that they were doing yesterday during WNBA Countdown pregame show. Let's get into it, shall we? Like the video, hype the video, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me. Chiney and Andre Carter react to Stephanie White's pregame comments.
We have much more for you in terms of breaking down the game, but moments ago, Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, she gave an impassioned pregame statement on the negativity surrounding the WNBA that we should all listen to together.
For those who have
Chiney and Andrea Carter seem to be operating on an island, oblivious to the fact that the audience is smarter than they think. They sat at that desk and claimed they were under immense pressure, but fans were quick to remind them that saying ridiculous takes without accountability isn't pressure. Real pressure is what the players are facing on the court, while their own coaches and media allies fail to protect them from blatant targeting. When Chiney tried to pivot the conversation toward love and humility, the comment sections across social media lit up with the same word, gaslighting. It was a calculated move to silence legitimate criticism.
She never quits on a play. And then here comes Stephanie White saying, oh, damn, they're cooking me about saying that. Let me try to backtrack the best that I can. Let me see if they buy this pile of dung that I'm about to sell them. Nah, we're not buying it. We're not buying it. You sold us a lot of bullshit when we first hired you. You sold the fans a lot of bullshit when we first hired you, and we bought it. 2 years later, oh, we ain't buying it, man. We ain't buying it.
Love will win. Chiney, you played in the WNBA for 9 years. You know these women. You know the competitive nature of this league.
The most shocking part of an entire segment was the blatant dismissal of the fans' intelligence. Andrea Carter actually had the nerve to ask how many people calling for Stephanie White's job have actually watched the games. This was a massive tactical error because, for the first time in league history, the answer is millions. This isn't the old WNBA where nobody was paying attention. People are watching every single possession, every foul, and every post-game press conference. To suggest that the criticism is coming from uneducated outsiders is a level of elitism that is currently blowing up in the faces of these ESPN analysts.
Most ridiculous takes and don't get held accountable. You guys say the most ridiculous takes, not only do not get held accountable, you follow up the next day with saying something even more ridiculous than what you said the day previously. I mean, you guys are not under pressure over there. Stop it.
And I think she just was making a plea. And I think also, keeping the main thing. We are all here because we love basketball. And if you look at the past week, there are so many great storylines happen.
Great storylines. Dejanay Carrington getting clotheslined. Stephanie White, Cheryl Reeve telling us how uneducated they are. There were some great storylines. We got
Fans were quick to pull the receipts on Chiney's defense of the sisterhood. They pointed out that while she was busy praising Stephanie White's character, she completely ignored the actual basketball analysis of the dangerous plays happening on the court. There was no mention of the specific storylines that actually mattered, like the physical targeting of stars or the inconsistent officiating. Instead, it was all about protecting the image of the coaches and the established veterans. This fake defense was exposed as nothing more than a protective shield for a league culture that is struggling to adapt to the massive influx of new observant fans.
For the most part, the thousands of people on Twitter watched all the games. Many people in the comments watched all the games. We've all watched the games. We all know how much of a snake in the grass Stephanie White is. We've seen this movie before. That's why her job was getting called for. That's why fans were so pissed off, because we've seen this movie before. We've seen her not stick up for her players year after year, time after time again. At some point, rubber has to meet the road.
How many games have you actually paid attention to watch the team and what they're doing?
Every game!
Out on the court.
The irony of the situation is that the very people Chiney is defending are the ones making the game harder to watch for the new audience. By defending the idea that a clothesline foul is just hard basketball, she and Andrea are essentially green-lighting that behavior. Fans expose this as a fake defense because it prioritizes the feelings of the coaches over the safety of the players. The anger coming from the fan base isn't fueled by hatred, as Chiney suggested, but by a genuine desire to see the game played the right way, without the extra non-basketball nonsense that the league seems to be protecting.
Well, backflip? Am I supposed to cheer like a cheerleader? No!
And you're piling on and you're fueled by hatred.
She's got CeCe and Kelsey Mitchell. You can't figure that out? You must be brain dead. Seriously. You can't figure out CeCe and Kelsey Mitchell? You must be brain dead.
And you're finding a space to exercise something that's not related to basketball at all. And that's where we are right now in the...
Not sticking up for your players is related for basketball. Gosh, the view is terrible on ESPN. Give me Whoopi Goldberg back.
The specific mention of Dawana Carrington's play was where the defense really started to fall apart. Andrea Carter tried to frame it as someone who never quits on a play, but fans saw a dangerous non-basketball move. When Chiney backed this up, she was essentially telling the fans to ignore what their own eyes were seeing. That is the definition of gaslighting, and the fans weren't having any of it. They pointed out that, if the roles were reversed, the narrative from the ESPN desk would be completely different. This perceived bias is what has fans so furious, and why Chinese defense felt so incredibly hollow.
Not sticking up for your players is related for basketball. Gosh, the view is terrible on ESPN. Give me Whoopi Goldberg back. Give me Sunny Hostin back. I'm tired of shit. And this segment was insufferable as it would have been 10 times worse if Monica McNutt was there. Sheesh. You clowns have been pushing woke liberal nonsense in this league for years. The difference is nobody was watching. So spare me with the we just want to talk about basketball foolishness. That's what we wanted to do when we followed CeCe here, and you called us racist because we don't want your woke garbage.
The backlash has been so severe that people are now calling for a total overhaul of the media coverage surrounding the league. They are tired of the woke nonsense and the fake defenses of bad behavior. They want analysts who will actually call a spade, instead of protecting their friends in the coaching ranks. Chiney is finding out the hard way that you can't just lecture the audience anymore. When you try to sell a pile of dog as a gourmet meal, people are going to notice the smell. The exposure of this fake defense is just the beginning of a much larger reckoning for the league's media partners.
So spare me with the we just want to talk about basketball foolishness. That's what we wanted to do when we followed CeCe here, and you called us racist because we don't want your woke garbage. Lying about not seeing the play in real time, egregious. She means nothing to the state of Indiana. We're behind Sophie. Damn. I have been calling for her job since the day that I hired. The fact that you think people don't watch these games. Andrea Carter, you do know that these games get over 2 million viewers, right? You know, this isn't the trash WNBA teams that we're talking about, right? This is the Indiana Fever. This is all the other no names.
One of the most heated points of contention was the claim that fans are just piling on because of hatred. This was a direct shot at the new viewers who have brought record-breaking numbers to the league. By dismissing their valid concerns as hate, Chiney effectively alienated the very people who are paying the bills. Fans were quick to point out that they watch every single minute of every game, often with more focus than the people paid to talk about them. The idea that the audience is just a bunch of trolls is a narrative that is quickly falling apart under the weight of actual viewership data.
You do know that these games get over 2 million viewers, right? You know, this isn't the trash WNBA teams that we're talking about, right? This is the Indiana Fever. This is all the other no names in the league that we're talking about. We're talking about the Indiana Fever. We're talking about Caitlin Clark. We're talking about Sophie Cunningham. We're talking about the biggest stars in the sport on the same team. People are watching. That's why they get over 2 million views to watch these games. That's why they've had a game that had over 3 million people tuning in, because people watch. Shit's crazy. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video, hack the video, subscribe to the channel. That means so much to me. See you next time, and as always, take it easy.
The situation with Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell was also brought up as a reason why fans are so invested. They see these players performing at a high level despite the lack of support from the league and the media. When Chiney stands up for a coach like Stephanie White, who many feel has failed to properly utilize or protect these stars, it feels like a betrayal of the game itself. The fans are protective of the talent because they know the talent is what makes the league worth watching. Chiney's defense of the coaching staff over the players was seen as a move to protect the establishment. The emotional damage Chiney referenced regarding Stephanie White was laughed off by the viewers. They pointed out that the only ones suffering emotional damage are the fans who have to sit through these biased segments every single week. The attempt to make the coach into the victim was a bridge too far for an audience that had just watched a player get physically assaulted on the court with no immediate defense from her own bench. It was a masterclass in shifting the blame and the focus away from the actual problem, but the fans were there to bring the conversation back to the reality of the game. The phrase, 10 toes down, has now become a meme among fans who use it to mock the fake toughness of the coaching staff. They pointed out that being 10 toes down means actually standing up for your team when it matters, not just when the cameras are on and you're trying to save your reputation. Chiney's attempt to validate this phrase was exposed as a hollow gesture. It's one thing to say you're there for your players, but it's another thing to actually prove it with your actions. The fans saw the lack of action, and no amount of ESPN spin was going to change that reality for them. There is also a growing sentiment that the media is trying to hijack the league for their own purposes. By focusing on these impassioned pleas instead of the actual basketball, they are distracting from the growth of the sport. Chiney was accused of being part of the problem by participating in these scripted moments of drama instead of providing the deep analysis that the fans are actually craving. The exposure of this fake defense has led to a demand for more substance and less performative outrage from the analysts. The audience wants the truth, even if it makes the sisterhood look bad. The sheer volume of the backlash seems to have caught the entire ESPN crew off guard. They were used to a world where they could say whatever they wanted, and the small fan base would just accept it. But with millions of people now tuning in, every word is being scrutinized. Chiney's fury is likely a result of this new reality sinking in. She can no longer rely on her status as a former player to shield her from criticism. The fans are looking at the work, and right now, they aren't liking what they see. The exposure of the fake defense was a turning point in how the media is perceived. Even the stories that Chiney tried to use as a distraction were called out. She mentioned great storylines, but couldn't actually name any of the ones that the fans were talking about. It was a clear sign that she was out of touch with what the actual conversation was on the ground. Fans were quick to list the 5 or 6 major events she completely ignored in favor of her scripted talking points. This lack of awareness only served to prove the fans' point. The analysts are more interested in their own narratives than the actual state of the WNBA. The fake defense was just the tip of the iceberg. The comparison to other shows and hosts was the final insult for many viewers. They expressed that they would rather watch almost anything else than another segment of what they called woke garbage. The desire for a sports show that actually focuses on sports has never been higher. Chiney and the rest of the Countdown crew are finding themselves in a position where they have to either adapt to the new savvy audience or continue to face the relentless exposure of their fake narratives. The fans have made it clear that they are not going away, and they are not going to be silenced. As the rubber meets the road, the league and its media partners are at a crossroads. They can continue to push these fake defenses and alienate their growing audience, or they can start being honest about what is happening on and off the court. Chiney Ogwumike's performance was a reminder of why the fans are so frustrated. They want authenticity, not a PR-approved version of the truth. The exposure of this segment has shown that the fans are the ones with the real power now, and they are not afraid to use it to call out the hypocrisy of the media elites. In the end, the truth always finds a way to the surface. No matter how many impassioned speeches are made, or how many times the sisterhood is defended, the fans will always have the final say. They are the ones who watch the games, buy the tickets, and drive the conversation. Chiney's fake defense was exposed because it didn't align with the reality that millions of people are seeing every single day. As the league continues to grow, the demand for honesty will only get louder. The media can either get on board with the truth or continue to be exposed by the very fans they claim to serve.